Good day. How's everyone here today? Welcome to Seasoned and Unfiltered and a special episode. We have an interview today with a gentleman from Mississippi. He happens to be a DACA recipient who's been in this country for a number of years, since he was 3 years old. He serves as a deputy sheriff in Mississippi, and his biggest dream and want in life is to become an American citizen. I met the deputy via telephone and the computer, and we've spoken a bit, and I've gotten to know him, and I'm quite impressed with him. He's a very sharp young man, and I believe in his dreams. And with that in mind, you also know, if you follow me, where I stand on illegal aliens and things that went on during the Biden administration, and how strongly I feel things were pretty darn messed up. And all of those people need to be out of here. But on the other hand, someone like this deputy here, I believe, deserves citizenship. So I asked him if he would come on the show and let me ask him a few questions, let him kind of share his story and how he feels about the greatest country in the world, and why he wants to be a U.S. citizen. So instead of me sitting here running my mouth and boring you to death today, I want to welcome Deputy Dreamer Edgar Vasquez. Hey, Deputy.
Hey. Thank you for having me.
I appreciate you being here today. As I said to the audience, I'm going to ask you some questions and kind of get a little bit of more background from you that I haven't gotten just from our short conversations, and for them to learn a little bit more about you. I'll have to use my readers because I wrote these things down on a piece of paper, and my eyes aren't so good since I'm a boomer. I'm a little bit older, but we'll get going here. As I mentioned also, so you came here from Mexico when you were 3 years old, and you've grown up in Mississippi. How do you define home?
Well, we're in it right now. This is the greatest country in the world. Mississippi is the state that we came back in the early 90s. I tell everybody, this country is the greatest country in the world. It's my home. It's the only country that I was raised. I started school at a very young age, like kindergarten, and then worked all myself through my senior year. And then I just noticed that this country is my home, and it's the greatest country in the world. And what we're seeing right now today, I have to tell everybody and remind them, this is the greatest country in the world, and you're born here. You should be proud to be a U.S. citizen of this country, because there's people like me that don't have that status, and we're doing everything we can the right way to get that status. And for you to say, or for anybody to have that hates America that bad, you need to go to some of those other countries and witness what they go through, and you would be very, very, you would tell yourself that, what, America is my home. I don't want to live like how these people are going through. So I have to tell everybody, this is the greatest country in the world. Our laws do impact us, but that's why we vote. That's why we get people elected that will represent us to make this country even better. But yes, this is our home. This is the greatest country in the world. Nobody is better than the U.S. than ourselves. So this is home, right home.
I agree with you there. I couldn't agree anymore. Need you to go back a little bit, because I assume it wasn't yesterday, but when did you first realize that you weren't a U.S. citizen?
My senior year. No, you know what? In high school, it's when I realized I was not a citizen. I realized that you had to have a driver license. I realized you had to have a social security. I realized that you couldn't just apply for a job. And as I was studying history, the one thing that popped up in my mind was, citizen, especially as especially the Constitution that we were taught in school. That's when I realized, I was like, wait a minute, I need to talk to my mom. So when I talked to my mom, that's when I realized that, yeah, I'm sorry, son, but you're not a citizen of this country. And I said, well, what does that mean? That means that you may not be able to apply for a job. You're just going to have to work, where you just get paid straight cash, and I know that's kind of controversial, but that's just about what everybody did at the time. And people are still doing it to this day. But that's when I realized that. I was like, oh my God. I said, what am I going to tell my friends?
Yeah.
And my friends realized later on that, yeah, they were like, well, dang, Ed, we would have never known that, and sometimes they picked at me about it, and I was like, y'all shut up before y'all get me deported. I love my redneck buddies. A lot of my buddies were rednecks, and let me tell you, I love their culture. I think I picked up their Southern accent because I dressed up like them too. Sometimes I wear a cap, a t-shirt, some shorts, and some redneck boots, steel toe boots. And, and they kind of look at me funny, but I love it. Sometimes I wear my little coveralls, with the little spinders that you clip on,
Right.
that the farmer used with the pocket in the middle. And, I wear them too, man. I mean, I love their culture. I love their culture. They just say that.
I have to agree on the accent. Having grown up in the Rio Grande Valley in Texas, I was around a lot of Hispanics that either had moved here from Mexico or born and raised, and they definitely had a different accent than what you have. I mean, you sound like you're from Mississippi.
Yeah, sure. Everybody. People that finally get to know me and meet me, they laugh. They're like, I'd never have heard a Southern Mexican that speak like a damn redneck.
Yes,
But
sure.
like I said, my mom's husband was a redneck, and my mom married a redneck. So I was able to learn the Southern accent through him. And then when I went to school and my buddies were redneck, they ended up calling me instead of a wetback, it was more of a wet neck. As a matter of fact, one of my emails for Google is actually wet neck. My
That's
email,
funny.
one of my emails. Yeah. So it's like I said, I love my redneck buddies. Their culture is amazing. I love their style. I love the cowboy stuff, because that's what Mexicans, a lot of true Mexicans, this is what we wear. We wear cowboys. We're in that cowboy culture.
For sure. And you take it all in humor and all with your friends, with all the things.
I don't get offended. I don't get offended with when it comes to stuff like that. I mean, we're living in a world where not everything should be so offensive. You should just have a good time. You have people that love you. You have people that are your friends. Family and friends matters. So I have learned over the years. I said there's no sense to be fighting over stuff. Just make fun of. Just get you a good laugh. Your buddies are your buddies. They're gonna be funny. They're gonna they'll come to an understanding. Like, okay, let's just say that's enough.
That's it. Okay. Yep. So you mentioned you found out when you were in high school that you weren't a U.S. citizen. So now you go to get a job and you decide law enforcement. What made you want to serve in a position of law enforcement, even knowing you didn't have your citizenship?
So when I got out of when I was a kid, I always wanted to do three things. One, I always wanted to be an actor. Number two, I wanted to serve the military. And three, I wanted to be an officer. I couldn't do both of those. So even when I got DACA, I could have went back and see if they would take me with DACA, but I've kind of find out after what the military did when I got out of high school, I didn't appreciate how they did me, because they knew I was not a citizen. They knew I wasn't. I didn't have any documents. I was just a completely illegal, and I wanted to serve the country. Make a career out of it. So that didn't work. Well, when I got DACA, I went through different jobs, and when I hit 30, that's when I was like, okay, I have to finally do what I always wanted to do, and that became law enforcement.
Right.
And I went to the part-time police academy. It was 43 applicants that applied for it. I went self-sponsored. I didn't go through an agency. I just went self-sponsored. I paid for it, and only three of us qualified, and only 6 of us graduated.
Wow.
And that's just the part-time. That's not even the full-time, And I always wanted to give back to the country that took care of me. Once I realized that, hey, even though the Republicans didn't give us some type of pathway to citizenship, and neither did Obama, but Obama at least helped us give us some path where we could hold on to it until either Congress can come up with a solution. So DACA did open doors for me, and once I realized that, I have people that love me. I have people that always talk about how great this country is, and I have always said this country is great. And I always thought to myself, what can I do to give back to the country that took care of me, that raised me? And since I couldn't do the military for nothing, I just decided to say, you know what? I want to do law enforcement, because I had buddies that were in law enforcement, and when they gave me joy rides, and oh my God, I had fun. And I was like, this is it. This is what it's meant to be. And that's what I did. One day I said, all right, this is it. I'm done with management and retails. I have done every other job that I can think of. This is just not for me. I want to do what I always wanted to do, and that was protect and serve, whether it was the military or whether it's law enforcement. And law enforcement gave me that opportunity, and the rest was history.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's interesting to hear. So, being in law enforcement, how has the support that you get from your sheriff helped you with your view of becoming a citizen?
So the sheriff, what frustrates the sheriff is that, why is it an issue for people like me, even though we are under Homeland Security? They know where we're at. They know where we work. They know they can come knocking on our door and say, hey, you got to go. But the fact is, I'm able to renew my status every 2 years and also pay taxes. So I'm paying my senators, right? So what frustrates the sheriff is that you want to protect and serve our country. What is wrong with that? So I don't see why you cannot be certified in law enforcement. That's the problem. The problem is I cannot get certified because of the one rule. Actually, it's 2 rules. Number one, you either got to have a green card or you got to be a citizen in order to protect and serve our state. So the sheriff is frustrated with that, because what does it matter? This guy is legal through Homeland Security. They look at it at, the language. They put that as, but you're legal, in a way you are. So he's very support of me being in law enforcement. He always tells me, look, you're one of us. You went to the police academy. It's not your fault that they can't certify you, but we're going to fight for you. We're going to support you. And to this day, they still support me. And to this day, the sheriff will, if you give him a call and said, hey, what do you think about DeputyDreamer? How, what's your stand on DeputyDreamer? What do you wish for DeputyDreamer? And he'll tell you the whole entire story and what he thinks. And he'll tell you that if there's a way that the president can make it happen, make it happen.
That's great. I mean, he sounds like a great guy. Really does. Yep. So what do you think that Americans misunderstand about Dreamers?
They think that we're illegals, and we're not. We're not illegals. We came here when we were 3 years old, babies, and, we didn't have a choice. I mean, at 3 years old, when I came to the U.S., I don't remember even coming to the U.S. when I was 3 years old, and we didn't have a choice, you know, and I don't want people to think that we're illegals. Almost just about every single dreamer believes in America first. We want to be Americans. What is so wrong for people like us to become Americans? We love this country. We wanna be part of the American dream with every U.S. citizen of this country. And it's just sad to see that that other people, including politics, are looking at us like we're part of the illegal immigration that came through Joe Biden as well, you know, and we're not part of that. We're not even part of TPS. We're not part of asylum seekers. You know, we were, you know, during the Obama administration, they tried to pass the DREAM Act for the Dreamers. You know, they were trying to pass the DREAM Act for people like me that came here as a children. There was no background, you know, don't have a criminal, you know, no criminal background, nothing. Just came to school here and are going to college, working somewhere somehow, and I just want people to know that we're not illegals. We love this country. We go the extra mile for our country in many ways, in different areas. Like, for example, I became in law enforcement. My extra mile is protecting and serving our citizens that I'm not even a citizen for, but I would protect a U.S. citizen to make sure he goes safe or she goes safe or that child goes safe home. You know, that's my take on that. You know, I want people to know that, look, I want to protect and serve, but also know that I'm giving something back because this country has taken care of me, you know. And like I said, at the end of the day, we're not illegals. We love this country, and I don't see why people look at us kind of a little bit different with that. You know, we believe in America first. We pledge to the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag. We represent the 50 stars on that flag, and we also represent the 13 stripes on that flag.
Right. That's good. That's good. So you kind of touched a little bit earlier because you talked about your buddies and how they feel about you, how they felt about you when they found out, you know, because they kind of found out at the same time you found out. But in the same context, thinking about your neighbors and some of your other coworkers, the other deputies and admin people, whoever you deal with on a daily basis, what do they think about your status? What do they say to you?
They think it's BS that I can't get certified to protect and serve. They think that it's BS that I can't carry a firearm to protect and serve. They think that, you know, there's not. Why is it an issue to protect and serve? You're one of us. You pay taxes. The money that you dreamers put out there every day to, you know, and work. Those taxes are, you know, the politicians are pocketing that money. And then they're also, you see in Washington how your money is part of that, is part of those funds that goes to other countries and other stuff, you know. And so my law enforcement buddies are like, there shouldn't be an issue for people like you to become police officers or protect and serve, because we need those resources from you guys. You're bilingual. That's a plus in law enforcement. We need people like you to protect and serve, especially with the shortage of law enforcement, you know. And they believe that if you're in law enforcement protecting and serving, you should get automatically citizenship. And I have to tell them, I said, the problem is, and then when I tell them the problem, they're like, oh my God, but you came here as a child. Why are they holding that against you? I said, because that's the law. And I said, I have to respect the laws here. And it's sad and it sucks, but guess what? I still have to honor our laws. Every country has laws. Mexico has their laws. Mexico has their own ICE agents. It may not be called ICE. It's probably the federales. But at the end of the day, Mexico has their laws because I'm from Mexico. If I was in Mexico, I have to honor their laws. I'm in America. I have to respect and honor our laws. And if we don't like it, we get our people to vote for that's going to represent us. But at the end of the day, we have to respect our laws. We have to honor our laws. And I have to tell them constantly, like, I get it. I came here when I was 3 years old, but I can't just get citizenship right off the bat. You still have to go through all these steps. Like, for example, I tell them I have to leave the country, come back in. They're like, what? I'm like, are you serious? I said, yes. I said, because I came here illegally when I was a baby. I didn't have a choice. You know, so for me to apply for a green card, I would have to leave the country, come back in, and then apply. And if I do it by myself, it may take, I'll probably be at a 10-year bar. They call it a 10-year bar. You're probably going to, you will be on a 10-year bar. Basically, you have to wait for 10 years before you can ever hear anything. Now, if I marry a U.S. citizen, I told them, I said, I would still have to leave the country. They're like, you don't get automatic citizenship by marrying a U.S. citizen? I said, no, it doesn't work that way.
A lot of
I said,
people
no, I still
believe
have to
that
go.
that's the way it is, though.
Yes. I said, I still have to go through the same process. And my buddies are just so aggravated that my law enforcement buddies, they support me, but they just think this whole they just think it's a BS that I have to go through all of this, put my story out there, and then try to reach out to the right people to help me get some type of permission or something, you know, like we've been trying to get in touch with the governor. So a buddy of mine is running for Congress against Bernie Thompson. He's trying to help me get a meeting with the governor so he can see what we can do to fix this problem. Because at the end of the day, they're like, you're one of us, Ed. You should be able to protect and serve. And I said, we need you. You're bilingual. You can you can go a long way with it. And I said, I understand, but the law is the law, and we have to honor our laws.
And that's at the end of the day, that's the thing, is that you are honoring the laws. You aren't skirting the laws. You're not trying to cheat the system. You, at 3 years of age, weren't the one your mother did it, right or wrong, which it was wrong. She did. She shouldn't have done it, but she did. But you had no choice in that. But you're honoring the laws that are before you today, and you're trying to follow the laws and become a citizen. And I will tell you, kind of on, you know, besides DACA, I have a very strong belief that our immigration system is pretty messed up. It is. It don't make sense sometimes. Even somebody that comes totally legally, does everything right, it shouldn't be as hard as it is to become a citizen in this country. I understand we have to protect ourselves. There's all kinds of people that we don't want here, but I don't think it should take 10 years, 15 years, 20. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And I mean, I told you on a phone conversation that my mother came from Canada, and it took forever for her to get her American citizenship. So I kind of I feel it, you know, I get it. And we need to fix the system. Congress needs to fix the system, but I'm getting on my soapbox and starting to preach like I like to do a lot.
Hey, you want to know something amazing?
Yeah.
So they asked me about marriage. So this may blow your mind. This may blow everybody's mind. I don't want to marry my girl that I truly love. I don't want to marry her just for me to get some type of citizenship. I'm not, you know, I just don't believe in it. I believe that if I marry my wife, my future wife, it's because I love her, not because I need something from her. It's one of those things that I don't want to have in the back of my mind where if I marry her, this is why we got married. Yes, we loved each other, but at the end of the day, we married each other because you needed some type of citizenship, you know? And then if I have to go to Homeland Security to do an interview for my green card, I'm going to feel so bad, and I'm probably going to sweat so much that if they ask me, okay, are you married? Did you marry your wife because not only did you love her, but you needed some type of green card or what, you know? When I took this oath, I can't sit there and lie, you know?
Right.
So I would have to literally tell them that, yes, I mean, this is why we got married, because number one, I can, and I don't want that. I don't want that. It would eat my conscience up. So I don't believe that, everybody tell me, well, marry her, that I was like, no, I just can't do it. I just cannot do it. It's not for me, that's not right. Number one, that's not in our American culture. Number two, that's not in our Bible, that's just not the way to do it. In my opinion, if you're going to marry somebody, it's because you love them, not because you need something from them.
Right.
When you marry somebody, it's you come together and you build something, you know what I mean? And that's how marriage is, in my opinion. I just cannot marry my fiance or my future wife just because we needed some type of citizenship. I just can't do it. And that's what I told Fox News.
I commend you for that. That's tough. It's got to be tough to do that.
It is. It is.
It's got to be. So let's imagine, which I'm sure you've done a lot of imagining and dreaming.
Yes.
But imagine you're sitting in front of Congress right now, and
yes,
they look at you and they say to you, they ask you what America gets back by making you a citizen of the United States. What would you tell them?
Well, number one, my service to my country, which is the U.S., my service to my state and my city. I would tell them that, that the people that are coming through that border and committing crimes and not doing it the right way, they don't represent me and I don't represent them. I do feel sorry for every single one of the families that were, my condolences goes out to the family that were killed by an illegal immigrant. And I feel that if Congress was to ask me, what would you propose? I would say, if they were to propose a bill for DACA, I would tell them that whatever y'all do with that money, send it to the families that lost their loved ones, by an illegal immigrant under the Joe Biden administration, whether it's a foundation or whether it's an organization, something for them. But at the end of the day, America would have somebody like me yes, I wasn't born here, but this guy is protecting and serving our country. And I think that's a good thing for them to know that this guy is putting his life on the line every other day or every single day to protect us and, or protect our children. And, in my opinion, I feel like that's what I can do, because at the end of the day, like I said, this country raised me and I would like to raise this country as well and give back what the country has given me.
Sounds great. So I'm sure you've heard some things in your life, some things have been said to you that weren't kind. So what's the hardest thing, just trying to think back, the hardest thing that anyone ever said to you about not being an American citizen?
I'll be honest with you. I have not had any problems when I was growing up. I didn't have any problems when I was in high school. I didn't have any problems. I never had any problem with racism. The only time I have ever heard anything is somebody behind the keyboard. I have been told.
Imagine that.
Yeah. Anybody that I ever meet, wonderful people. Never had a problem. Nobody. And what's funny is I got a Mexican tattoo right here that says Mexico, but it's a tribal. But up here on my shoulder, right here, there's a tattoo of the American eagle that says America. And the reason why I put it up here is because, like I said, this is how much I know my country. In America, it's the American flag first, and then you can put whatever flag you want underneath. So when everybody was like, well, why America? Why can we not see America? I said, because America is always on top of every other nation. And that's exactly what I did. And they were like, I said, you're an American. How do you not know that? But I have more racism on the keyboard than I had in person. I have been called coconut. I have been called a traitor. I've been called a betrayal to your own kind. You know, like,
Wow.
oh, you support Trump? Oh, you're a traitor, or you want to be white? And I'm like, sometimes I'll go back and I'm like, Joe Biden was white, Bill Clinton was white. Hello, you
Yeah.
know, like, you know, are you calling me a traitor because I don't support your narrative? You know, like I
Right.
have that's probably the only you know only things I have heard. But in real life, well, I mean, in real life, like in person, I never had anybody tell me, "Hey, you don't belong here. You need to go back." Like nothing. I didn't.
That
I
makes,
never.
and
Nothing that I can think of.
I know you hear, I mean, we hear it, I mean, all the time about how racist this country is, and especially the right is so racist. And
It's all about politics. People,
yeah,
people are blaming the Trump administration for the racism. They're blaming Republicans for the racism. But last time I checked, Ronald Reagan, one of the greatest presidents, you know, and the reason why I say that is because he gave amnesty to immigrants.
yeah,
He's the only Republican that I can think of that ever gave amnesty to immigrants. There's not one president on the Democratic side that ever gave amnesty to immigrants, and or even tried to, you know, try to work anything out with both parties and say, look, help me out here and I'll help you guys. You
right.
know, so at the end of the day, my childhood and now, I have never had any problems with people with now, it may be behind doors. I never heard it, never heard anybody, but just about everybody I ever came in contact, I have never had any racism or anything like that. Never felt unwelcome, nothing.
That's awesome. And
Everybody's been so good to me, and I've been, you know, I give my respects to all of them, and you know, and we have a good time with it, you know.
right. And I don't have to tell you this because I'm sure I've figured this out by the time that we've gotten to spend together talking before and now. But I'm still going to tell you because I'm your senior. Don't ever let those keyboard warriors ever get to you because they are the silliest little, they're just, and I mean, I know you get it and I get it all the time, the stuff that I say, and then people just blast me and I laugh at it. I really do. I laugh at it because they wouldn't tell me to my face. And if they would, honestly, like if those same people that talk to you that way, if they sat down with you live and in person, just like if they sat down, if the people that talk bad to me sat down with, it's amazing how much we're all alike and we all want the same thing in life. We're all after the same thing. There are some genuinely bad people in the world, unfortunately.
Yes.
But the majority of the people are good people and we all want the same thing. Nobody wants to hurt anybody. And that's why I say just the heck with those keyboard warriors.
I blame a lot of it. I blame to the media. I blame the media in our politics. I think that our politics and the media has been the main reason why we are so divided and we're hating on each other. You know, I even have DACA recipients that are like still stuck in that limbo where they're still praising the Democrat Party like they're the heroes and they're going to save us, you know, and they're kind of shocked that I'm the only one that is kind of speaking out in public, because a lot of DACA recipients, to be honest with you, there's a lot of conservative DACA recipients that people don't even realize. But the only reason why they don't come out is because they don't want to be called what I'm getting called, traitor and a coconut and a wannabe white. And have you ever heard of the word nopalero? Nopalero is like a nopalero is like, yeah, it's a cactus. Yeah, like nopalero en frente. They call it. That's what they call it. Wannabe white, and oh, you're a Mexican you're brown skin all the way. You're a freaking cactus, you know, and so. It don't bother me at all. If they were like you said, you know, if it was face to face, they won't say that.
And so what? So what? You're Hispanic. So what? You have brown skin. You can still be an American.
There's, you know, I tell people that we can still celebrate our culture in this country. This country,
Absolutely.
this country is it's a freedom of speech. This country gives you freedom. We can still celebrate our culture. Just know that America is first. This is,
Right.
you know, if it wasn't, then why did your parents brought us here for? Our parents brought us here for a reason.
Mhm.
And
Absolutely.
I just tell everybody, those DACA recipients too that are still stuck in limbo because they want to be in that limbo, I have to tell them, then you're the reason why y'all don't want to change. Y'all want to be stuck in this limbo and then blame the Republicans for it. Like, get out of that comfort zone and let's put the politics and everything aside. Let's come together and let's get our voices heard. That's the only way we
That's
can
the
get
way.
and
Yep.
I get all the time, hey, if you happen to meet the president, what will you tell him? And I tell him, well, first of all, it's not about me, it's about all of us. But I will tell the president, if I was to meet the president, I would tell him, sir, can you do something for DACA? Because we believe just like you believe about America. And if he could, if he can bless us, especially me, I said, I will be a full-fledged deputy and I would love to serve my country and state in the city that I'm from and be an asset to you and be an asset to America and my state, and can you please help DACA once and for all without the help of the Democrat Party? Can you get your Republican and let's get this thing going for all of us
Right.
and let that be the end of it.
And you just took one of my questions away from me.
Oh, I'm sorry. I would really, to be honest with you, if I was to meet the president in person, oh my God, I let me tell you, I think I would be, oh my God, I'd be so nervous. I'll definitely hug him for sure. And I'll be like, sir, I am so sorry that people are trying to assassinate you. I am so sorry. I give God all the praise and glory that you're still standing and you never gave up on us, and you're fighting with us. And I just want to handshake your hand and tell you how honored I am that I get to meet the president, my president, that I support, because you do have a heart. You have said it many times that you support DACA, you support the Dreamers. And I'm asking, can you bless me with a miracle, but also bless the DACA people where we can finally come out of our shadows and let us be an American and let us be an asset to you. So, and let us prove to you that you did the right thing for us.
Right. That's great. That's great. So most of the people probably aren't aware. I'm aware because I've talked to you. Your mom has passed.
Yes. My beautiful mother, she passed away right before all of this started happening.
Right.
My mother was able to see me on TV with the local news, but she was not able to see me on Fox. She always, golly, my mom was a warrior. She came here the right way, and she died as a green card holder. She wasn't able to get her citizenship because you have to learn English. You have to take the citizenship test in English. Obviously, I mean, if you're going to come to this country, you got to learn the language, just any country. If I go to whatever country, I have to learn their language. It's the law, right?
Right.
And same thing here. But my mom had a hard time with English. She said English was the hardest language for her. So my beautiful mother, like I said, she passed away in March of last year. She passed away on a Thursday, and then we buried her on her birthday. And it was very tough. And my mom have always told me when she saw me on TV, don't give up. God is gonna bless you, and you're gonna meet the president, and you're gonna do wonderful things. And don't give up. I didn't give up bringing you and your sister. And, I brought you here for a better life and a better future. And I'm starting to see it. And I'm sorry that, I'm going home. And, it was very tough. It was very tough.
Yeah. If she was here and you had just taken the oath to become an American citizen, what do you think you'd say to her?
I would hug my mom. I would tell her, Mom, if it wasn't for you, none of this would ever happen. If it wasn't for you bringing, coming to America and teaching me, the right things and the right ways of this culture that I didn't even know I wasn't from. I would have never been where I'm at right now. If it wasn't for her, I would have never been here. We would have never been talking. My story would have never been out. And I would definitely hug my mom and tell her, Mom, we did it. We did it. I did this for you too, because you always wanted to be a citizen as well. And because of your English, I did it for you. And here we are. We're citizens.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm sure your mom was a terrific mom. I'm sure she was.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have met her.
Oh my God. My mom was a warrior. My mom was a good person. My mom would give you the last penny she had, and my mom would see the good in people. And that's the way I do. I have the same traits that she does. I try to see the good in people. I never try to see the bad. As a law enforcement officer, I do my best to not judge anybody. I don't judge anybody because we all make mistakes. We don't know what caused that person to lose their mind. We don't know why this person did this. It's not my job to judge. God will take care of that. My job is to make sure that this person is safe regardless of what they've done, and that's the way my mom taught me. It's like, look, son, you're going to have to see the good in people. Can't just judge everybody. Just because you see somebody on the road that is a crackhead or a meth head, you can't just judge them. You have to understand where they're coming from, what happened, why did they not have the help that they need? Maybe they didn't have somebody to talk to get them out of drugs.
Right.
Same thing with a veteran. If a veteran, veterans have PTSD, if they commit a crime and they start shooting at people, I cannot sit there and judge that person and say that man was crazy and blah, blah, blah. No, it's our own government that made him crazy because the government didn't take care of this veteran. This veteran fought for our freedom and for our country. And now we're going to judge him because of what he did. No, that's not our job. Our job is to make sure that he is getting taken care of, and let the judge and let God do the judging. We're not here to judge. I'm not here to judge. Right. And that's just the way that's the way I look at law enforcement. And I don't know if other law enforcement see the same thing as I do, but this is one of the reasons why I wanted to be in law enforcement, because I also want to help people, because my mom did the same thing. My dad does the same thing. And I love to help people. Even if they don't want to help me, that's fine. Let that be.
Right. So, Deputy Dreamer, before I say goodnight to you, I want to speak directly to the listeners one more time. And I hope you've watched all of this, and I hope that you've been touched in some way and you see what this man's true dream is and that you agree with it. Because I know I do. I didn't know him until we traded some texts and talked on the phone, and I believe in the guy 100%. And I've already told him, I don't know what I can do, but I'm going to do anything I can do to help you. And of course, other DACA recipients that deserve it. I mean, Deputy Dreamer Vasquez deserves it. He's been here. He hasn't done wrong. He hasn't been arrested. He hasn't committed crimes, and he's serving our country as a deputy sheriff.
Without a weapon.
Right. And I hope, I'm asking you to please like and share this. And please, when I say share, I mean share it with your congressmen, with your senators, share it with anybody and everybody you can think of. Send it to your news stations. Send it to people and let them know this isn't about me. It's about this man right here. He deserves to become a citizen. And I am going to do everything I can to get this out to as many people as I can. And I hope you will too. I'm asking you, please share it. If we can get this man his citizenship, I can't wait to shake his hand as a U.S. citizen. So thank y'all for listening today. And Deputy Dreamer Vasquez, I got to control my emotions. I'm an emotional man.
I'm the same way.
Thank you so much for coming on here and sharing a little bit of your story, because I know there's a whole lot more there. And we're with you. We're praying for you. And don't hesitate to reach out. I can't make you any promises, but you're one of my brothers, and
totally
I will do everything I can to help you. If I can help you, I'll help you. If I can't, I'll tell you. I won't blow smoke.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay.
I just wanna tell the listeners, you know, to all my brothers and sisters that are U.S. citizens, please be proud to be a U.S. citizen of this country. This country gives you the freedom, gives you freedom of speech, gives you everything that no country can give you. And be proud, just literally be proud to be a citizen of this country, because there's a lot of people like me that are trying to do it the right way, trying to do everything they can the right way. And we wish that we had that status that you have. Just understand that being an American citizen is one of the greatest things of this world. And don't
the dogs are letting
take
me
it
know
for
too.
Yeah, don't take that American citizen for granted.
Well, thank you again. We really appreciate you being here, Deputy. Have a great evening.
Yes, sir. It's a pleasure. Thank you.